Hello everybody, I am Ananya, 8-3 this year. So I'll just give a brief background about myself before delving into the strategy. So I have done my graduation in geography from Miranda House, University of Delhi in 2021, and post to that I prepared for this examination for 2 full years. Even though this is my first attempt, I have prepared for this examination for 2 full years, and I gave this examination in the year 2023 with anthropology as my optional, and I've been lucky enough to clear it in the first attempt. So let's just get into the strategy now. I'll take the questions at the end. Right now I'll just divide the video into prelims, mains and interview stages so that it will give you a comprehensive understanding. So firstly, let's go to prelims. Let's start with prelims. Prelims, instead of delving on the overall strategy, what I wanted to highlight is what should be done in the last 1 month of the preparation, since prelims preparation is less than a month now. So I'll just try to tell you about what all should be done in this last 1 month so you can derive something beneficial out of this session. So first is focus areas and PYQs. What happens is that, like for instance, if I take my case, I have started my prelims preparation in February. I have given 4 full months for prelims. So what happens is that in the initial 3 months, that is February, March and April, we tend to read most of the things. Like even though we know that there are some focus areas that are being focused by UPSC by studying PYQs and everything, we still feel that we still read most of the things. So in the last 1 month, it is now time to narrow down your preparation and adopt a targeted approach. So first thing that before I start with this, I also want to tell you about my marks in prelims. My score in GS paper 1 is 102, whereas my score in paper 2, that is CSAT, is around 86. So I could comfortably clear both the papers with a decent margin above the cutoff. So yeah, this is about my marks. And then now coming into the focus, coming into the strategy, the first is the focus areas and PYQs. So what do I mean by focus areas and PYQs, and why should you focus is that usually we tend to read everything when we start out for the prelims preparation around February or maybe March sometimes. In the last month, however, it's extremely important that you track PYQs and then focus on those areas so that your memory is fresh when you go to the examination hall, and those questions can also be expected. So first is, what are the focus areas? For example, there is something like history, especially the medieval Indian history. So the focus areas in medieval Indian history are the terms. For instance, even in the previous years, there have been some terms that have been asked, like Virukal, Nadukal and all these terms. So when you're reading history in these in this last month, it's extremely important that you see the focus areas which primarily caters to terms in ancient and medieval history. So that is one thing. And coming to environment, we all know that national parks and species are a favorite area for UPSC. So in this 1 month, try to focus on national parks and species a lot. So that is another thing. And about science and technology also. So science and technology, please go a bit deeper into technologies like biotechnology, nanotechnology and everything. So it's not just about a surface level understanding, but also a deeper understanding of the technologies is extremely important. So now narrow down your preparation in this 1 month. Narrow down your preparation by looking at the PYQs and then make a focused plan. So that is one thing you have to do. And apart from that, another thing you have to do is analyzing PYQs. Analyzing PYQs is not just about looking at the previous year questions and then just solving them. It is not about that. What is extremely important is that you have to analyze the options also. For instance, if I have to give an example, there was an option called Namdapha National Park that was mentioned in one of the options in the questions. Even though it was not a right answer, the next year they've asked a detailed question about Namdapha National Park. So it's extremely important that you analyze both the right options as well as the wrong options. So if you do both of these things, next year there is a chance that they may ask a question out of previous year questions. So please do that. Please ensure that you're analyzing the options of the PYQs and then try to get a decent understanding of all the options, so that if any question is asked the next year, you will be able to handle it better. So that is another thing that you can do. And the next thing you have to focus is, please do not forget basics in search of complex issues. What happens is that after like 2 or 3 months of prelims preparation, we go into this panic mode, like what else should I read? Oh, the questions are becoming really complex this year, so what else should I refer, or what new material should I refer? But it's waste of time to do this in the last 1 month. So what you have to do is that please stick to basics. For instance, if I have to quote a small thing, if you see the previous 2 to 3 year papers, especially the prelims papers, you can see that questions from basic topics like fundamental rights, constitutional amendments are coming up. So these things you have to keep it in mind in the last month. You cannot go on referring for new material by avoiding basic things like fundamental rights or constitutional amendments. So please do ensure that in the last 1 month you are giving adequate focus to basics. That is extremely important. And apart from that, the other thing that I want to highlight in the last 1 month is about the mindset. What do I mean by mindset? Mindset in the sense that, like, it's okay if you are being little defensive in the first 2 months of your prelims preparation, but when the times, like, it's only a 1 month away, so you have to develop that aggressive mindset. By aggressive mindset, what do I mean is that you have to have that mental strength that I'm going to do it in any way. Like, even if the question is difficult, even if the question is complex, even if the question is something that I do not know, I'll somehow try to use my elimination skills and all such things to narrow down the options. So this is extremely important. This mindset is extremely important going forward in this 1 month. And please see how you are thinking in this last 1 month. It's not just about your preparation that matters in prelims. What also matters is your mindset. So going forward, see how you are thinking. Are you getting intimidated, or are you having that aspect of fear, anxiety that is going through your mind? Those feelings are common. I do not say that you shouldn't have those feelings, but also mind matters. So see how you are thinking, develop that aggressive mindset and all such things. That becomes extremely important for you during the actual examination time, for you not to give up in difficult circumstances and all such things. So prepare your mind like that in the last 1 month. Apart from that, I also wanted to highlight what happened in the actual examination for me in the last year by taking up a few questions. So first is, if you just look at the previous year paper, that is 2023 prelims paper, you can see that there were many unconventional questions that were asked. Even I was not aware of many of these questions. Like, even I was looking at them for the first time. So how did I handle it? So for instance, there was a question which asked about an animal that makes a tool out of scrape and uses it to pull insects out of trees. At the first instance, we will see this question and we are like, oh, what is this question? Where is this coming from? And the species are also like that. So they have mentioned species like fishing cat and all such things, which we might not have heard before. So our first reaction will be a little bit defensive. That is, oh, I've not read these species. I've not done this question. So how do I tackle it? For this question, it's extremely important that you stay with a clear mind, and that is when you can apply your logics. For instance, how did I do this question? So I saw the question, I knew that I was not completely aware of it, and then I just cooled myself down and I thought, okay, so they're speaking about an animal that is making tools. So which animal is able to make a tool? Only that animal which has a greater cognitive powers or greater brain capacity. That is a very basic thing that everybody of us know. Only an animal with a greater brain capacity will be able to make a tool, and not otherwise. So which out of the options given, which is the animal that has a greater brain capacity? The option is orangutan or chimpanzee. One of those is the correct answer. So it's very simple. Like, even if you don't know the question, even if you apply a simple logic or basic common sense, you will be able to arrive at the right answer. So it's just that when you see an unknown question, do not just get freaked out. Just keep calm and think about, okay, there is a tool that is being made by an animal. For a tool to be made, it is extremely important that the brain capacity should be high. And what are the animals that have greater brain capacity? Obviously, humans are one. Apart from humans, who else are there? Apart from humans, obviously there are other primates like chimpanzees, gorillas, orangutans and all these things. So orangutan, I guess, was mentioned in the option. That is the right answer. So this is how you go about solving unknown questions, by keeping a clear head and trying to arrive at the answer by applying your knowledge. And the second question that I wanted to highlight apart from the above question is, there was a question about Cobalt manufacturing. Which of the following countries manufactures 3 by 4th of cobalt, I guess. So there, the examiner very cleverly gave some options. There was an option of Kazakhstan, there was an option of Argentina, and there were some 2 countries from Africa. So even I was not aware. I was aware of some other minerals, but cobalt is like, nobody gets to read about cobalt a lot, and nobody knows that 3 by 4th is produced by country. It is a difficult question, obviously. So how did I arrive at it? So when the examiner is giving the options, just try to understand the mindset of the examiner. Why is he giving the other countries? He might be giving the other countries not randomly, but he might be giving the other countries in the options to confuse us. So what must he have given? He must have given those countries that are the top producers in other minerals. See, for instance, he has given Argentina. He or she has given Argentina. So why did the examiner give Argentina? Argentina is being given because it is one of the top producers of lithium. So they wanted us to confuse, like, between lithium and cobalt. But lithium, Argentina is the top producer of lithium, so that goes away. And next is Kazakhstan. So why did the examiner give Kazakhstan? So Kazakhstan, we know that Kazakhstan is one of the top producers of uranium. It is a very basic fact. So that is again important, having these basic facts with us, and then using them to arrive at the right option. So I was able to eliminate Argentina and Kazakhstan because I knew that these options were given by the examiner only to confuse me. Argentina is the top producer of lithium and not cobalt. Kazakhstan is the top producer of uranium and not cobalt. So I was able to eliminate 2 options, and then I was able to guess the other option. So this is how you arrive at the right answers.